Let's all give a warm welcome to Swarna Kalyan DTM. Over to you, Swarna.
Thank you so much, organizing chair today for today's the DTM Shiva. Our distinguished guests here, Didi, Leon, DTM, and our PQD, Robert Ram, DTM, and all the guests who are here. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before I start sharing on what I'm going to do, can I request all of you to switch on your videos so that I know who I'm speaking with. We are about 13 of us here, so let's see each other. Oh, hi, Srinivasan, Jenny,
Hi.
Sajni is here. Hi, Sajni.
This one will be then in a short while.
Oh, nice to see. Hi, Shiva Leela. Okay, it's nice to see faces when we are doing online presentations. So if you can keep your videos on and you have no issue, please keep it on. But of course, I realize that you may be just joining in to listen in. That's also fine with me. But if you have any questions, please put it in the chat, and we will have our Zoom master or the organizing chair read out the questions for me at the end. Okay, we will come back to the questions at the end of the program. Okay, and the next question I have is, how many of you here are already DTM? Can I see in your chat or in your hand raise? Or okay. Okay, so I do see some hand raises here. So already a DTM. Okay, then next comes the question. Okay, so do I assume the rest of you are on the way to DTM? Yeah, okay. So Dr. Yvonne is very excited because she's going to have so many of them on stage next year when she's going to have the award ceremony for the DTMs, right? Yeah. Okay. DTM today, what we will do is, I'm specifically going to be concentrating on the DTM project and the HPL project. Okay. But for DTM itself, can I have someone tell me what are the things that is required to do? Okay, you can raise hand and say, or you can just unmute and say. That's also fine. So, what are the things that we need to get DTM?
One project.
Just one project?
Give others a chance. I say one project.
Two pathways.
Two pathways. Yes, two pathways. Okay, then club leadership, right? For 12 months. It can be 6+6, or it can be together 1 year, one term of club leadership, full term of club leadership, and then one full term of district leadership. It can be an area director, can be a district director, it can be a trio, it can be the division director, it can be the SDOs, as long as you have a district, basically a district leadership role that is being done. And then you need two extra other things. That is, one is you need to either charter a club or do a speech craft. That is 1 credit. And then do a coach or a mentor. That's 1 credit. And of course, the very important thing is you need to complete your DTM project before you can get your DTM. So this is the whole track of how we get DTM in pathways. So I hope you all have started on that journey. Okay, either maybe one pathway or 2 pathways done, and then you've done your leadership in clubs. So let's go on to see how we can go into the DTM project itself. Okay, so let me share screen. Are you able to see the screen? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We did have our organizing chair share about me. But if you do want to connect with me and learn a little bit more or ask any questions, I'm open to that. You can just click on my QR code, and then you can connect with me on different social links that I have. Now let's look at what is leadership in Toastmasters. Okay, Toastmasters offers us different ways of leadership. So one of the 2 significant projects that highlight your leadership is the HPL project, or the High Performance Leadership Project, and the DTM project. Okay, now many a times what confusion is, hey, how is HPL different from DTM? Or if I do my HPL, is it considered as DTM? Or if I do my DTM, do I still need to do HPL or not? So all these questions are the typical questions that people have in their journey towards DTM. Okay, both of them are concentrated on serving different purposes, okay, of your leadership journey. Okay, so let us go one by one. HPL, just to give you a project preview, basically it is about a leadership project that you can do anytime in your Toastmasters journey. Okay, that means let's say you have done your pathways, one pathway, and you're in level 5 of that pathway, and you have HPL as an elective, you can do the HPL project. Okay, so that you can do it at any time of your journey towards DT. Okay, it's designed to enhance your leadership skills. Okay, and then it involves a team to it also gives you the experience of working with a team for a particular goal. Okay, and that we will go into what should be the goal in the next slide, but basically working on a goal, and then you have a guidance committee who will take you through on how to do it. Okay, and then you also, like any Toastmasters, right? We work on feedback. So you need to have a feedback system to get back your feedback and then see how you have done the project. And that becomes the whole HPL project itself. So when you complete the whole thing, then it's called as the HPL project. Now, pathways which have HPL. Okay, so how many of you doing any of this? Dynamic leadership, effective coaching, innovative planning, leadership development, motivational strategy, strategic relationship, and team collaboration. So these are the pathways that have HPL as an elective. Okay. Now, how is the structure of the HPL project? So you can initiate, you can involve in, you can pick up a project and do it. Then you go around planning, executing, get the feedback from your guidance committee. So basically you need to form a team and you go about doing it. And then you provide opportunities to lead, show your leadership skills. You also have to demonstrate that you can solve challenges in that project, and therefore you gain leadership experience. Now, when we take up a project, even organizing a team like this, I can tell you when we started off on this, the organizing chair Shiva asked, we had a session to understand each other, like what is it that we are going to do, what is expected of him from this project, and what as a speaker I need to deliver. So as a team, you need to go through the system, right? Like you need to know what you want to achieve from a particular project and what all goes into it. Even a simple meeting like this, you need a Zoom master, you need a table, you need a timer, you need a Toastmaster of the day. You also need to get feedback and then make it interactive. So there are different aspects of even doing a training on Zoom, right? So you can imagine if you're doing something else online. So where online or in person, every time there is going to be a cycle where you plan what you want to achieve, and then you go on to execute it and then get feedback and see how you can improve it if you redo the project again or some other project. Where did you do well? What did you do? And then design to build skills through multiple repetition if desired. So this is the overall project structure of HPL. Okay. Some examples of the HPL project. I had some questions many of you had shared earlier. So many of them said, give us real examples of where HPL project can be done. Okay, so HPL project is when you're leading a club event. Okay, you could be a club exco, or you could be a member where you're leading something in the club. It could be an open day in the club. Okay, so what all goes into an open day? You want to reach out to non-Toastmasters. How do you go about doing it? Do you use social media? Do you use Eventbrite? All those things are different aspects of it, but objective is to bring in new members into the club. So that could be a project in the club. The other one could be is, let us come up with a system to mentor new members in the club. Okay, what is that system that you can have? Especially if your club is big, then you can have a proper mentoring system, because people are coming in, you have senior members who are there with experience. How do you match them both to make sure that a good mentor-mentee project is there in your club, and therefore the new members feel, oh, I have someone to guide me through. Okay, and I align well with my mentor. So how do you align a mentor with a new member? So that could be a project. It could also be, simple thing is, maybe we need a club website. Yeah, sure, you can do that. This is also a HPL project. What all goes into the club? So it could be anything to do with your club, you can do is a HPL project. Okay, then you organize a small conference. Okay, maybe you tie up with your PQD, tie up with your CGD, and see, can I help you in a small gathering where we are with a particular purpose? Okay, so that could also be a HPL project. Okay, then you head a team with a specific objective within or outside of Toastmasters. Both HPL and DTM encourages us to take it outside of Toastmasters, because we are here to learn. Toastmasters is where leaders are made. So this is a platform where you're learning your leadership skills, and we want to demonstrate it somewhere. So you can either demonstrate it in a Toastmaster setup, or it could be at your workplace. So it could also be a HPL project. Okay, I have a member in my club who works as in a non-profit organization. And so when it came to HPL, she said, I'm going to do a panel discussion in that organization. So can I do it as a HPL? Definitely, why not? But make sure you have the elements required for the HPL. So that means you have an organizing team, you have someone who can give you a feedback system, you have a guidance committee, you have all those things that are required for the HPL in the project. Okay, so as long as you can prove to us that you've got all these things, then definitely outside of Toastmasters also you can do a HPL project. Now, any questions on HPL so far? No? Okay, now let's go into the DTM project. Okay, DTM project is like the last thing that you want to do before you get your DTM. That means you've done your leadership in club, you've done your leadership in your district, okay, or you're going to do it, or you're doing it, okay, that also can be counted. And then you have done 2 pathways. Okay, when does a DTM project start? DTM project starts when you complete 1 pathway and you are level 3 in the next pathway. Then you write into education@toastmasters.org. Robert, maybe you can just type in this for people to know where they send the email. So you write into them and say that I would like to activate my DTM project. Okay, so when do you do it? Is you completed one pathway, you're going into the second pathway, and you've completed level 2 of the second pathway. Then you write into Toastmasters and to education@toastmasters.org and tell them, I would like to activate the DTM project in my portal. So what happens is, when they review and see, oh, you've done pathway 1, 1 pathway completed, second pathway, you're eligible to start your DTM project. So they will activate it on your screen. So in your screen, when you log into Basecamp, if you are eligible and you've written in, you have to write in. Friends, remember, you have to write in. They will not activate it, or it's not automatic. So please remember, you need to write into education@toastmasters.org and tell them, please activate my DTM project. And they will activate it, and it will show on your system. Okay, I am going to share the DTM project and the HPL project booklet in the chat shortly, but so that you all can have a review of it, even if you don't have access to it yet, but you can have a look at it. Okay, so basically that's the first step. Okay, and then the DTM project, It requires you to demonstrate leadership. Definitely, Toastmasters is about leadership, okay? Focusing on a lasting impact that you have created, okay? Generally on a large scale, okay? And then involves leading a team, planning and execution with feedback from the mentors, okay? Now, difference between HPL and, if you remember, HPL, we had guidance committee. Okay, DTM, you only have mentors. Okay, and then what is the structure? Basically requires you on a large scale project. It should be really good. Like either you do it with a district or you do it outside of Toastmasters, but it has to demonstrate that you have made a good impact as a leader. Okay, and it should have a measurable and long-standing effect on whatever you're doing. Okay, involves planning, executing, and evaluating the project. Must demonstrate leadership, mastery, and completion of Toastmasters' highest levels of requirements. Okay. Now, examples. Okay, I have plenty of DTM examples. Okay, so basically, to if you're organizing a high impact event, okay, what can we call as high impact is you're leading a speech conference, okay, your speech contest, you are the organizing chair of the conference, or you are a TLI chair for your district, okay, is also a DTM project. Okay, it's just that it's over a period of time and you're doing it and you're demonstrating that you have made an impact. And then basically what happens is you are doing all this so that you can improve on your communication skills, improve on team collaboration, you show your leadership, you handle conflicts. There are so many things that comes with any of these projects, right? So you are demonstrating everything here. And and what are the skills that you can show is basically project management, team collaboration, and public relations. Now, conduct a workshop or a seminar in a large scale. Okay, so in our district we have every year we do something called as the leadership forum. Okay, where we bring in leaders from different walks of life, and then we share that with people, with our non-Toastmasters. So basically we use leadership forum more to attract non-Toastmasters to Toastmasters. So basically, as an organizing chair of that event, what you're doing is you're liaising with non-Toastmasters. You have to do your publicity. Your team should be good in publicity. You should be able to get as many people to come and join your conference, so that, you know, your leaders, whoever you're calling, has an audience in there. Okay, so you need to demonstrate those things. So that is one way of doing a seminar. There are different ways of doing seminars. Some of them do corporate conclaves. Okay, some districts have ideas of corporate conclave. What do? They bring all the corporates together and show them what is the benefit of having Toastmasters in the corporates. Okay, then some of the ideas is also having a HR conclave. Get all the HR from different companies to show what Toastmasters offers as a learning that can complement the learning and development in their company. Okay, so those are different ways of looking at seminars, of conducting workshops. So that your imagination, I leave it to your imagination on how you do it. Now we are celebrating centennial, right? So many districts have centennial celebrations. Okay, that is also a big one, because you're doing it as a district level. You want as many people to join, and then you want to showcase the history of your district. You want to showcase the history of Toastmasters, and you want to make it as a very well-known public event. Okay, so that is also something that you can consider as a DTM project. Even a simple club mentorship program. Okay, you have your club is large, you have a lot of members, then you can come up with a club mentorship program. How do we do mentors? What is required of a mentor? How do we train people to become mentors? What are the qualities that's required to the mentors? And then you have a system in place. Okay, these are the strengths of the mentors. This is what we have. So how do we match the two? okay, and say, okay, this mentor A is going to be mentoring the new member X. Okay, so how do we do that? Whether they align with each other? Is there a process in place? And how do we review the system? Okay, you may have mentor-mentee, but how do we review it? Do you go back to the mentee and ask, hey, did you enjoy at the end of level 2? Did you enjoy working with your mentor? Okay, what did you learn from the whole process? Was it useful? Were you able to see eye to eye on a lot of things? Okay, so all those things are in the mentor. And remember, mentor is only showing us the way. Yeah, it's not required the person should do a project for the mentee. But basically, you need to have a good system in place. Then that's also a leading a new club charter. Okay, Dr. Yvonne is here, and I'm sure she would want to have many more clubs chartered in District 102. So you help the CG team to start a new club, a place where you work. Okay, you find that oh, maybe I can start a club in the place where I work. Okay, work with your club growth director, work with your district, and see, I have an idea, but I don't know how to go about it. I'd like to lead, but can I do this as my DTM project? Why not? Charter a new club, the whole process, identifying sponsors, identifying mentors, going through the whole thing. And it's normally a new club is a 6-month project from starting to when it is self-sustaining. So that is a very good project to do as a DTM project. Okay, then club or district role. Do we have any district officers here? Okay, if you are a district officer, yes, Robert, so you can go for your second or third DTM. Yeah, what are the things that you're learning? As a PQD, you're doing so many things. You're working with different teams. You're creating an impact for your district, okay, with learning as a focus. So you're learning, your TLI is one project. You're doing your conference is another project. It could be even your COT, DOT, all these things are training. And so how do you bring everyone together and make things happen? And when it happens, how do you review it from project to project through the term? Okay, your first training, COT1, how successful was it? Is there something that you can learn from COT1 to go to? Okay, even division directors who do COTs in their division can take this up as your role in the district can be taken as a DTM project. You need to have people to form and give you a feedback on how you've been doing it, and then you can present it in the club. Okay, building a community service initiative. Okay, you can think of something that you can with the service in mind. Okay, so you can come up with a charity event. You can, this is outside of Toastmasters, because Toastmasters does not believe in charity. Yeah, we cannot do that, but you can create something that has an impact on the outside of Toastmasters. Establish a corporate club. Okay, going back to club building, because Toastmasters is about building new clubs and making sure that clubs achieve excellence. So establishing a corporate club can be a DTM project. Okay, creating a training program. Okay, so if you're a TLI chair, you come up with an idea and say, hey, I think I have an idea of creating a training program for maybe train the trainer program. Okay, there are many of us in Toastmasters who'd like to train, but we may not know how to train. Okay, because speaker and trainer are two different things. You could be an excellent speaker, okay, but do you know how to train? Do you know how to get feedback from the audience and adapt your training to that? Okay, so train the trainer program. If you think of it, okay, I can help do it. I'm a trainer and I know how to train trainers. So therefore, that can be a DTM project. Okay, mentorship programs in clubs. Okay, so it's not said enough, but mentorship is very, very important in Toastmasters. Many of us here are successful because we have excellent mentors. Do you agree? I'm here. Whatever my success is because of my mentors. They guide me on where I did well, where I'm doing well, and where I have to pick up and move better, right? So we need good mentors. So mentors is an important thing. So you come up with a good mentorship program, okay? Create a district-wide newsletter. Does 102 have a newsletter? Do you all have a newsletter? No. So this can be a DTM project. Identify someone who wants to do DTM, okay? Tell them, help us do a newsletter, okay? Come up with a structure, come up with how it should be done, and then you take it forward and say, how often are you going to do this newsletter? Is it going to be monthly? Is it going to be quarterly? Okay, we just finished our quarter. So do we want to showcase what we have done in the first quarter to our members? Okay, so you can identify and say, do you want to do a DTM project? Then I would suggest, come on, let's do a newsletter for our district. And once you have a system established, someone else can take it and see that it runs. It shouldn't be that someone does it for 1 year and then it just closes. Then it doesn't really serve the purpose of having such a project. Okay, youth leadership programs. Okay, does your district have youth leadership program? Yes, youth leadership programs are a very nice way to showcase our skills as well as to identify potential Toastmasters members to the district. Okay, so you can do a youth leadership program in Singapore. We call it as JC, which is like junior college. They are students who are between 16 to 18 years old. So we can do a do a youth leadership program in a junior college. And then what happens is that they, when they like what they see as Toastmasters, of course, one is you're teaching them how to be leaders, but also you are potentially bringing in new members into Toastmasters. So when they turn 18, you can say, hey, do you want to join our clubs? We have so many clubs. Do you want to join our clubs? Okay, so that can be youth leadership program is a good example of the DTM project. And it's a good impact as well, social impact as well, because nowadays youth have to learn as many skills as required before they enter the workforce. And leadership is something that we all need at different parts of. Running a simple speech craft, okay, is also a DTM project. But I just want to remind you here, if you are claiming to be the speechcraft coordinator for your DTM, you cannot also use this as a DTM project. So that is something that I want to be clear, because we don't want you to say, I'm also the coordinator of the speechcraft and I'm putting this as a credit for my DTM. Then avoid taking this as your DTM project, because you already are getting one tick on your DTM. So it cannot be one project cannot be for 2 tick mark. Yeah. So just remember that. So that is something that you need to remember for speechcraft. And if you need speechcraft, typically if you want to be coordinator for speechcraft, one of the best ways to do is reach out to your district officers. You can do it at your club to see how you can make it bigger and have an impact. Okay, so in our district, speechcraft comes under the club growth director. So we normally, when we want to do speechcraft, we reach out to the club growth director and see how we can take it to the clubs. Okay, creating a new initiative. Okay, it could be something very different. Okay, how you can improve your member engagement. So if you come up with something at the club level and then replicate this at different clubs, you come up with it so that you can see the impact of club engagement. Clubs have 2 challenges. Anyone knows what are the 2 challenges the club have? Can someone share?
Membership drive.
Yes. Hi, Lucy. Yes, membership is the number 1 problem. Number 2?
Inactive EXCO.
Education program.
Yes, education program. Engaging your members is also a very important task. Okay, you may have members who are willing to pay your fees, but how do you make them come to your meeting, every meeting? Do you have that challenge? I have that challenge. As a VP of the club, I have a challenge of making sure that all my members come to the meeting. How do we make an engaging meeting? That could be a DTM project. How do we make that engagement happen? Okay, do we have different events that happen in the club, entice them to come to the meeting? Many a times people come to a meeting only when they want to do a speech. You agree or not? Right? I want to do a speech, so therefore I go to the meeting. I'm not doing a speech. No, I do. And then even if it is an evaluator, then it's like, okay, maybe I have a tick somewhere. That's why I want to do it. So this is a common problem that all clubs have, is that membership. How do we build membership, and how do we engage and keep the quality meeting up? So moments of truth. Okay, we have something called as moments of truth. How do we go about doing moments of truth in our club? Can be a wonderful DTM project. Okay. Okay, I've already repeated it. Okay, so now these are the different examples. So is there anybody here who has done something different from whatever is here? Anyone who wants to share? Oh, in my DTM, I did this. For my DTM project, I did this. Maybe someone can learn from you. Anybody? No?
Did you talk about, I did a Red Crescent event for the community, like a home nursing course.
Uh-huh.
Did you mention about that already?
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. Social
I did that for the community. Yeah.
Service. Yeah, service is one of the things that you do outside of Toastmasters. So service outside of Toastmasters can also be a DTM project. Yeah. So you could be doing generally it cannot be, not necessarily an YLP, but it could just be that you are doing something at your community center that will help people to speak well. Okay, you could be doing a project, you're giving your time to help residents speak well, or you are having something like that you're working with your community center. That is also considered as a DTM check. But please remember, yeah, if you're earning money out of it, then it's a different thing. You're a trainer and you're earning money out of it, then please don't consider that as a DTM project. Yeah. It's basically how you improve. We need to showcase how we are improving on our leadership. Now let's look at similarities between the two. Okay, both of them focus on leadership development. Okay, and both of them are team-based projects, meaning that it is triggering you to work with people. Now, if you ask me to do something on my own, I'm very happy. Okay, but when you tell me, Swarna, you have to work with 20 people, right? That's where we all have challenge. Even in clubs, Club Exco, Lucy, you mentioned Club Exco. The challenge is working together as a Club Exco also, right? Team. How do we work with each other with so many different views? How do we still get things done? Okay, so the focus is on those skills of how we learn to become better with working with different people, different perspectives, and still get things done. Okay, and then of course, both of them common is feedback. Okay, you have a 360-degree feedback. 360 degrees means that they're looking at different aspects of you. How are you as a leader? How are you as a communicator? How are you in time management? How are you in managing conflict? And so there are different aspects of you, and then the team members have to give a 360 review of your leadership. So therefore, there is a feedback and mentorship program. Then, of course, how do you apply the skills in getting the project through? So these are similar in both DTM and HPL project. Now, differences between DTM and HPL. DTM is like the final step to your DTM. Okay, that means it's the capstone project. Okay, that's the end. So you do it once you're eligible to do your DTM project, you do it, and it's a mega project, and you do that. HPL is not like that. HPL is every pathway that you choose. Depending on which pathway you choose, you can do a HPL there. Okay, so it's more of a development project designed to build leadership at any stage of your life. Okay, so if you're doing a leadership development pathway, okay, focusing on leadership development, you have a HPL. Okay, if you're doing visionary communication pathway, then focusing on your communication skills, you can do a HPL project. Okay, if you're doing strategic relationships, then you can do a HPL focused on how you can demonstrate your relationship. Okay, team collaboration, how do you work as a team? So these are different aspects of HPL. Then coming to the scope of the DTM or HPL. The scope is often it's a very large and long-term project. Okay, like it's one term as a district or district officer. It could be one term, 6 months as from club building to mentoring, 6 months is your term. So that's the thing. HPL is very, very flexible. Okay, it could be a small project, maybe 6 weeks, 5 weeks, you work on it, you get it done, and then get a review and you present. Okay, so that is the thing. Okay, and then timing wise, typically completed at the end of the Toastmasters journey. That means when we say journey here is to get your DTM. Okay, and then HPL, it can be done multiple times. There's no restriction on how you want to do the thing. Okay. Okay, so this is my sharing so far. Now let's go on to understanding what you want or you want to ask. Let me just share with you both the HPL and the booklet here. I hope all of you.
Swarna, there's a question from Jenny Go inside the chat box here, She's asking about the format or link for updating completion. She has got a question actually.
What I'm sharing just now in the chat is the complete booklet of DTM. You may not see it because if you have not activated your DTM project. Similarly, I've also downloaded the full booklet of HPL. So you can download these two to understand what is the whole process. Okay, what are the different requirements and what to do. Okay, now let's go into your questions here. I did have some earlier questions. So if any one of you, if I didn't answer your questions, let me know. I can also answer. I think I did speak about youth leadership. There was a question on youth leadership. There was a question on what else was there? What are the different type of projects that we can do? I think I've given that. I've given quite a variety of projects that you can consider for DTM. Okay, now Jenny, go. Okay, where is Jenny's question?
DTM Swarna, would you like me to read out some of the questions?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. These are some of the questions which we have received along the way. One is, how can you overcome the fear of failure or self-doubt during your leadership journey?
Okay, very simple. Do we know who asked this, or was it is the person here, or
The names were not listed in that. They just came in through the registrations.
okay? Dr. Yvonne wants to answer it.
Maybe she.
Yes, Dr. Yvonne.
Not
yeah.
answering question.
Okay. Yeah, you have a question, or is this the question?
No, it's not my question. I want to ask you.
Yeah,
You
please
started
ask.
this one first. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Failure. I think in Toastmasters, to be honest with all of you guys, Toastmasters is a very safe place to fail. Okay, you can take up a leadership role and not do anything about it. Nobody's going to question you. Of course, people are going to say, hey, as a club president, anything, but then it's forgotten. After a one term, people say it. Okay, so what journey you want to do, test all your skills in Toast. Do not be afraid to test. Do not be afraid to get feedback. Do not be afraid of being criticized, because keep telling yourself, Toastmasters is where leaders are made. Okay, and if you want to be a leader, you need to know how to fail. There is never a leader who has not failed. If someone tells you, I'm a leader, I never fail, I would doubt it, right? Because leadership, you grow only when you fail. There could be different levels of failure. Yeah, it could be totally the whole idea of the project fail. Okay, that I would say could be because you did not think as a visionary. Okay, then you learn to look beyond a particular point. That is a lesson that you learn from such failure. The very common failures in Toastmasters or anywhere outside is our people's. Do you agree? Yeah. How do we interact with people? That is where we fail, because we are not able to convey our thinking to their thinking, or we are not able to say, hey, your view is X, my view is Y, but let us see which view is best for the project. Keep the project in mind. Keep the project in perspective. So when you keep the project in perspective and see which one goes well, then we have to accept it and move on. Okay, so the people skills is where most of the time failures happen because we don't get along. Then suddenly people start dropping in the team. They say, oh, sorry, I cannot work with this person. Oh, I cannot work with this person. So it happens that way, right? And then how do we move from there is basically we will have to have a chat with the person. We'll have to see how important is that person's contribution or how important it is to focus on the project. That way you can move. But failures, I can tell you, makes you stronger. For me, failures have made me stronger, made me to look at things differently. If I thought, just to share on my Toastmasters journey, I'm not sharing outside of Toastmasters, but in Toastmasters journey, okay, as a club president, right? You take up simple club president role. You want to have a vibrant club, and any club president will say, hey, during my term I want to be president distinguished, right? I want to achieve the best. I want to be known that this club did well under this person. Okay, now then comes your exco. Okay, you want a poster done, doesn't happen. You want the program out on time, doesn't happen. Okay, you don't know how to reach out. You say, hey, you have to put on social media that we have this meeting, can you please do it? Your VPPR does not do it on time. Okay, so these are real challenges. I'm not saying that people are not efficient. It's just that priorities are not there. Your priority and their priority are different. So you need to align and say, okay, for the next 12 months, how do we align ourselves? Okay, you do your role, I do a role. Let's have a timeline. Okay, suppose we roll out. The VPE rolls out and says, who's doing projects for project? Then roll out 3 weeks before so that people, or 4 weeks before, as soon as you complete the next meeting, roll out the next one and say, hey, can we go and do our next project, next meeting? Who wants to take roles? Or do it in your meeting itself. Who wants to do the speaker next meeting? That way you get people to get engaged, right? So these are typical club officer problems. Then comes the area director, division director. Their problems are different, very, very different. Okay. It could be that, yeah, I want to do well as a division director, but then I don't have people supporting me. Then in that case, you need to find people who will you have to learn to reach out. Because many a times people want you to ask, can you join my team? They want you to ask. They don't want to be the one to raise my hand and say, hey, I want to be in your team. No, they want to know whether you want to be in that team. Okay, I'm sure even Robert here as a PQ has his own challenges, right? How do I get people to come to my TLI? How do I get people to do very big project you have this term is the annual conference, right, Robert? Like who to be the organizing chair? What are the things that go into the organizing of the annual conference? Do logistics, so many things, right? So all these are there and you're bound to have failures. At every level, you're bound to have failures. But we need to know what can potentially happen. We should know when Mr. Murphy will visit. You know Murphy's law, right? You can do anything, everything, but you never know what can go wrong. So you should have an idea of what all potentially can happen and who can give you that. Have a good mentor. A mentor can tell you, Swarna, you do this project, you can potentially have the XYZ, give you that list of things that can go wrong. And you work on those so that you know if XYZ happen, what do I do? You need a good mentor. Get people to support you. That's very important. Okay. Yes, Yvonne.
Yeah, I just want to add my understanding. For both this HPL and DTM project, if I read the project manual, the first thing it mentioned is that we need to define your project. We need to define a project. So I'm just thinking, if we are using YLP and also Speechcraft, the project is already designed by TI. So it may not be so appropriate for us to take it on as a DTM or HPL. And the second point is that when we do when we do Speechcraft and YLP, we already get a credit towards DTM, right? Because one of the items is we need to coordinate either YLP or YLP or speechcraft, and that is already another credit into our DTM requirement. So if we are doing one project and we take 2 credits, I believe it's not so appropriate. So my advice is that for speechcraft and YLP, better not to use it for our DTM and HPL projects.
Yes, I think I did mention this when I was speaking about speechcraft and YLP, is if you're already getting a credit for that, do not do it as a DTM as well. Okay. Now, you may say that we are, as leaders, Yvonne, we can say these things to our members. When the club submits the DTM project, right, it is going to the education at toastmasters.org, right? We have no control on what people put in. Okay, so Toastmasters is very, very simple. I had this as a PQD. Okay, I had a challenge was I suddenly saw someone get a DTM and had never seen this person in my like 3-4 years. I'd never seen. I'm like, how did this person get a DTM? I never saw this person as a AD or a division director. I never saw them do any mega project. How did this person get a DTM? Okay. And then you know what Toastmasters said? They told me that Swarna, we believe we work on one thing and one thing alone in anything that we do in Toastmasters is integrity. You say when you go and click complete, right? They assume that you have actually done. So if they cheat the system, we have no way of knowing it. So friends, let's develop this very important core value, integrity. So as leaders here, if you come across people who are going around the system, to be honest, I can say there's no way of doing it. But I can tell you one thing for sure. If you see a DTM who has gone through this path without doing anything, and you see a DTM who has done everything properly, you will see that they stand out. Okay, when you see a DTM and you say, wow, this person real good leadership, right? That means they did a proper job in their DTM. To get their DTM, they did a proper job. Sometimes you say, this person can't even talk well, and you don't display leadership, you don't, and then how did they manage to get DTM? Because they did not do the system. Okay, so it's your own journey. It is your own journey to DTM. Do you want the title or you want the learning? It's up to you. If you want the learning, go through it properly. If you don't want the learning, only the title, TI will not stop you from doing it because they're only looking at tick mark, pop up in the application, signed by the VPE, sent to them, they're okay. Because they assume that it is integrity with which you have submitted.
Thank you very much, Swarna, for that. It was so much, I think, very important to stress on the integrity element. Now, let's take another question here. This question is how to encourage DTMs to continue staying on to nurture the young ones.
Okay, so let me start with you, Sajdi. Sajdi, you got a DTM?
Yes.
Okay, through traditional or pathways?
Pathways.
Pathways. Okay. You know, in pathways, we can keep doing it, right? Every 2 pathways, we can get a DTM, right? So one way of doing it is I just submitted my 3rd DTM. Okay. Now, why do I need 3 DTMs? It's not about the title, but what I tell myself is I'm interested in learning pathways. I like the topics. When I started off as a club leader, I started off with in the innovative planning. Okay, because I thought that was a skill that I needed. Okay, then I went on, I said, oh, I need dynamic lead. Then I went and did the dynamic leadership, right? And then those 2 became my first DTM. Then when I went into CGD, I realized that I need to be strategic. I needed the strategic relationship. I needed team collaboration. Okay, so I took it as a learning. So every time I did 2 pathways, and if I had done my leadership as well, and I also chartered clubs or I mentored clubs or I coached clubs, then I went on to submit my DTM. So I use it as a motivation of my own learning. Okay, so I did pathways to do learning. And you can say with pathways, there are so many. Right now, even if they say 6 pathways, right? Lot of things to learn. And if you're in the traditional path, even more reason why you should try DTM through pathways, because it's a very different experience. It's very, very different. Did I answer your question, Sadhani?
Yes, you did. That question came from somebody else, not me.
I know you're curating the questions here. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are the questions which have come forward so far.
Uh,
So please continue asking questions. We have still a lot of time, and there's so much from DTM Swarna you can learn. I'm sure we're taking away a lot of stuff. Every time we have this workshop, there's so much new information, new sharing from different speakers. So take advantage of it and go ahead and just unmute yourself and ask the question.
Okay, I have a question here in the chat. Says to be DTM must do both HPL or DTM project, or just do one will suffice. Okay, I think I did mention about it. Now, depending on the pathway that you did, okay, you will have an option to do HPL, and HPL is an elective project in level, I think level 5. Some of them have it as a level 5 project itself, the main project, and some of it has as a elective project. So it's up to you how you want to do it. So if you chose a pathway that requires you to do HPL, then you have to do HPL. Okay, that is number one. Number two is, if you chose a pathway that does not have a HPL, there is no obligation for you to do a HPL. But to get DTM, you definitely need to do DTM. I hope I answered that question. Yeah.
Hi, Sona. This is Jenny Goh. Can I just clarify? So what you're saying that if I have completed my two pathways, but both pathways do not have HPL, which means that I can do a HPL separately.
It depends on why you want to do a HPL.
All right. So it's not compulsory to do a HPL in order to attain DTM.
Yes, that's right.
All right. Then to complete the DTM project, those projects that I have done prior to the DTM application, will those still be credited?
Okay, how far away are you talking about?
Say, I'm an area director now, was president for my club last term. So whatever that I've done as a president, will that be credited? Okay,
depends on what project it is. Does it meet the criteria of the DTM project? You have to look at that. You have to really see whether it met the ideas of a DTM project. Okay, DTM project is normally very large scale. Okay, you have to demonstrate that it was a large scale project. You do for a club typically is considered as a HPL. But if you have, I do know clubs which have 100 members, which have 80 members, right? And they're doing things for the club is actually a large claim. It's suppose they're doing an open house for the club, right? It can be a large scale project, okay? But you need to show proof to yourself. As I said, DTM project is your own journey, right? You activate your DTM and then you present it in your club. Only your club knows what you have done, right? Yep. But if you're asking me, oh, is this considered? I would say, see something that you can do as an area director. Maybe charter a club, Jenny. I'm sure your DD will love it.
Yeah, I'll talk to Zoo.
Yeah, that can be a DTM project. The learning in that can be a DTM project.
Okay, thank you very much, Sana. Thank you.
Yeah.
Swarna, so after Jenny's question, say if we are chartering a club, but we give the club sponsors and club mentors role to members who have not been DTM, then can we like take the lead? So we take the DTM project.
Yeah.
Okay, clear.
Yeah.
So we just have to do the pre-speech, and form a group and then conduct the club and then post is the same. All right, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. Yes, Dr. Som.
Thank you. I have a question. These questions I usually get from the new members or the members who are looking for HPL and DTM projects as well. They ask me, like, if I have done a project already, it's a good project where it involves a lot of leadership skills and things, but they have already finished it. And then they realize that HPL is coming up. They said, can we use as a retro? My answer is usually no, but I want to know your thoughts on this.
I normally look at the timeline. Okay, if they say 5 years ago I did one project, then I think it doesn't serve a purpose. But let's say last term, let's say in January they did a project and now they want to do it. It's still relatively new. Okay, so you can go back, because you see HPL and DTM requires you to get your team to give you a review. Okay, it requires you to have a feedback system. So if you did it long back, how are you going to even say, oh, my team gave me this review of my project? Okay, we don't know. We need proof to see whether this was successful, or was it done, was it not done, all those things we need. Okay, so I would say, at least when I was PQD, I would say if it is within that year is fine. If it is like more than a year, 5 years, whatever, sorry, try and do something else.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a, sorry, can I interrupt?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, to Dr. Som's questions and also to Jenny Go's questions, if we look at the project plan for both HPL and DTM, we need to do two speeches. One speech is when we have a project in mind, what we want to do, we have to start planning. After we do the planning, we have to do the first speech first. After the first speech, only we go in to start the project. And when we are doing the project, we get the learning and we'll incorporate it into the second speech to share our experience. So for both Dr. Som and Jenny's questions, right, they said, I have completed the project. I have completed the project last month, but I haven't done the first speech. I haven't done the second speech. Can I now start doing these two projects by doing two speeches, one after another? To me, I think it's a no, because we didn't really go through the process. That's my view.
Yes, yes, that is true, Dr. Yvonne. I totally agree on that. But as I said, right, there are always exceptions to a lot of things that we do in Toastmasters. Okay, so if the first project that they come and they say, oh, I finished this project, but last month I finished this project, then if I want to do my first speech is regarding this project. This is how my first planning came about, because we are talking about the planning, right? The first speech, this is how we planned, this is my committee, and this is what we did, this is our goal to achieve, and that's how we went about. Okay, and the second one is, this is my review I have done, and then this is the feedback that I've received, and this is my learning from this project. Okay, so it still is, as long as it's not like very, very old, we can still have some sort of, because it's not so easy to do HPL or even I would still say don't do this for DTM, but for HPL, it's very difficult to have so many opportunities to big projects. So as long as you can prove to yourself, to the club, and it has benefited, it's not about just doing two projects. Okay, so and we have no way to know, only you and your VPE will know whether you really did it or not.
Thank you very much, Swarna, for that response. We shall take one last question, which is in the Zoom chat. This question is a little bit unclear. Maybe Ng Chin Yi, you can unmute yourself and explain this question. The question is, how can a club president as a DTM project? Is it whether you are a club president and that itself is a DTM project? Is that the question?
Yes, I would like, yes, I am the president now. I would like to, how can the process of a club president to be as a DTM project?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For system. Yeah.
Okay. Typically DTM projects, district level projects can be considered as a district level leadership can be considered as a DTM project. Club level, unless you're doing a very different project, you're coming up with a mentorship program, or you're coming up with a moments of truth, you're doing it at a big level of finding out how to, from your membership experience to your thing, you're improving, you're showing us that in a span of 12 months, this is how my first meeting was, and this is how my last meeting is, and there, because of this, membership retention has gone up, membership engagement has gone up. We have been able to do, if you're able to prove these things, we can take it up as a DTM project. But as Dr. Yvonne said, if you're a club president now and you plan to do this, you need to present your ideas to your club first. So your first project should be, this is what I plan to do, and these are my committee members, and this is what we are going to do for the club, and this is a part of my DTM project. Okay, so you need to do that as a proper way of taking it forward.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Swarna, for that. So we have already, would you be able to take one more question? There's one more.
No problem, no problem. Yeah.
Okay, this is the last question. Khalid, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I have this problem in completing my DTM. As you know, one of the requirements is to be a club sponsor or club mentor. And after we completed our job, the club president or club officer need to email to the HQ. But I have the problem because the club EXCO, I don't know, they're busy, or after repeated reminder, did not send the email to TI. So I have this problem for almost a month now. So it's about the ding dong with the club and also TI, because I told TI, as a club sponsor, we need to charter club, and the club is already chartered and already have meetings. So what proof that I need to show that the club is existed and registered? But TI said, oh, we still need the email from the EXCO, but I have the I don't know what to do with the the club EXCO, how to ask them to email.
Kali, this is about relationship building.
Yes.
Go and meet them for a coffee. Don't talk about clubs or sponsor. Just go for a coffee, have a chit chat with them, and then you tell them what I do. I'll tell you what I do. As CGD, I did that. As PQD, I did that. And as DD also, I did that. Was that, especially as DD and CGD, I did this was, whenever I see clubs, this can also look at the leadership. You know what? Whenever we see clubs have completed 6 months or whatever, I have a template where I say this person has completed the club sponsor. So sometimes it's simple as they want you to give them what they have to write to TI. It can just be that. So create an email and say, dear new club, okay, this person membership number, this has completed the role of club sponsor successfully, has completed the role of club mentor successfully. You know, then you tell them, you just cut and paste and send to new club. It could be just that. Sometimes people don't know what to write.
Yes, I
don't know what to write. And the second, most of the time, is a relationship, you know, because they just feel, this person didn't do enough for me. So that's their assumption. So you have to tell them, as sponsor, I was supposed to bring you together. I'm supposed to do my paperwork. I'm supposed to help you through this process. And I think I have done well. If you think I have not done well, can I understand where this problem is? So when we ask those, without assuming, right? Sometimes we assume that, oh, maybe they don't think. But when you ask them, put it down to them like that, then they like, you know, oh, no, actually, I have no problem with him. It's just that I'm lazy to send that email. It's most of the time is that, yeah. But you can do a template. So we normally, I practice this. So I used to send this to the club EXCO and CC the two sponsors, or to CC the two mentors, because then what happens is they know in the loop, you know, so they are also know that, oh, I've been appreciated, because typically you need to do support for 6 months.
Thank you very much, DTM Swarna, for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We are coming now to the end of the session, and definitely please give a round of applause to
Sashni, I have just raised a question, the last one. Can Swarna help me to answer?
This has to be the last one, because you know we have to keep within our schedule as well. Swarna, would you like to take this?
As an immediate area director, if I had revived a club to a select distinguished club in the last term, can that project be considered as a DTM project? Okay. Typically, when you say club, we need proof, right? How do we prove that you were the one who helped the club to become select distinguished? Because then the club, the EXCO will say, we did the job.
So it is from a club of no good standing.
Okay. But then how do we, typically when club of good standing, no good standing to select distinguish, can be considered as a club coach. If you were appointed as a club coach, then you help the club to revive and come back to that. That can be considered. For DTM project, it's difficult to prove this. Yeah, because the club will say, I did all the hard work. What did you do? It's difficult to prove that. Yeah.
So if there is some proving points that we can raise throughout the year, because from the very start, after the club president was appointed, then immediately the person resigned, so put the club in limbo. So we have got to really making sure that every meeting you are there to make sure you beef up the membership drive. And then with the education program, so we keep pushing those existing club members to do their speeches, finally reaching all those goals. So if there is a track record to prove all this progress, so
this to me looks more like I would leave it to the district to decide, but this to me looks more like a club coach role that you have done. Yeah, not so much of a DTM role. What you could have probably done is reach out to your CGD at that time and say, can I be the club coach for this club? Then you would have clocked in club coach credential. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, DTM Swarna, for taking that last question for this workshop on Leadership Leap, HPL and DTM Simplified. Let's give us a round of applause to DTM Swarna for her wonderful sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for such an interactive workshop. You know, because I, as a trainer, it's very boring to just look at your screen and do things. So I'm happy. So many faces I can see. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Now we would like to invite our District Director, Dr. Yvonne Leong, and also our Program Quality Director, DTM Robert Ram, to present the token of appreciation. Zoom Master, could you kindly, over to you, Zoom Master. Please let us know once you've taken the picture. Please smile, ladies and gentlemen.
Smile again, please.
Smile.
Take a shot and done. Thank you very much. Done.
Thank you once again very much, Swarna, for that. And DTM, Dr. Yvonne, and also our PQD, please don't disappear, as we would like to also appreciate the role players for today.